I want to talk about the NIL. I want to talk about the transfer portal.
Okay.
And the only reason why I want to talk about this is because this is my issue with the transport portal. Now, even from the women's basketball side of things, it was a stat that came out that was on three. On three is like a college basketball, source for a lot of things. It has been over 1,200 women have entered the transfer portal, and we're still have a Final Four tonight. So, like, I'm really confused on this. We heard about Olivia Miles, we heard about flau'jae Johnson, we heard about a lot of not NFL, college football players, college basketball players, men and women, in the transfer portal. So my problem is this. I think to open up the transfer portal, it should be after the season is done. And with the NIL, I'm just advocating for the women's game because we know the NBA is going to be there. People, the rules are different for men's college basketball, but I'm advocating for the women because I understand why the women is staying for their senior year, because they feel like the NIL deals is going to convert into endorsement and it's going to turn into less money once they get drafted. So my question to you, Willie, is this. Is the NIL and the transfer portal killing college sports? Not just basketball, not just football, just in general. Is it killing college sports? Because we had this conversation. Actually, I heard the conversation. We didn't hear it, but I heard the conversation about there wasn't no Cinderellas in this college basketball tournament. There wasn't no Cinderellas. Even in the college football playoff, there wasn't no Cinderellas because of the transfer portal and the NIL deals. Do you think it's killing the sport with this transfer portal and the NIL deals?
I'm going to take them one at a time because I'm going to tell you why I don't think it's killing the college athletics in either format or in either arena, if you will. Simply because the NIL, it gives the opportunity for student athletes, emphasis on students. It gives opportunities for student athletes that play lacrosse or softball or tennis, even track and field. Those are sports in which we know there's no chance that they can go pro in unless they go overseas somewhere. So I'm going to say that in that regard, that I do not think that it is harming the sport from an NIL standpoint. Now, in the bigger sports, football, baseball, basketball, not everybody's going to the league. Not everybody's going to the majors. And even in baseball, when you play college baseball, you're not going straight from college to the bigs. It's not happening. You're going to go to, probably double, no higher than AAA, unless you're Bryce Harper or Ken Griffey Jr. or Alex Rodriguez. And those talents don't come around every single day. So it gives an opportunity for those kids to continue to earn big money before even getting on a professional stage. Now, the transfer portal, I have more of a problem with than I do with the NIL, because I'm not going to ever really downplay or denigrate any student athlete that has an opportunity to make money for themselves and or their family. But the transfer portal, I have a more of an issue with, because it's like now these kids are so afraid of competition that if I don't get in after the first 3 games of my first year, I'm entering the transfer portal. Well, dang, what happened to working hard? What happened to doing everything you got to do in the off season in order to get yourself in a position to where you can earn more playing time, as opposed to, well, you know what? I'm going to enter the transfer portal, and I'm going to tell you a squad that benefited from the transfer portal in this NCAA tournament for the men, the McNeese State Cowboys. They benefited more than any other team in the tournament from the transfer portal because all 5 of their dudes, or let me say this, most of their main contributors came from somewhere else. They came from a D1 school or FCS or whatever you want to call it, but they came from a D1 school to McNeese, which would be considered a Division One AA back in the day. It just so happens that in college basketball, it's all lumped together. So in that respect, I look at the transfer portal as something that would ruin the game more so than NIL ever would because of the lack of emphasis on competition.
Now, I can agree to that that extent, but for me, I feel like they play hand in hand because you have people that go into the transfer portal just because they want to go into the transfer portal to go to another school and play at another school. But we have players going into the transfer portal trying to get bigger money getting offered to them from colleges. So that kind of plays hand in hand because if you're in the transfer portal and you're just in the transfer portal just to go to a different school and you got like a 5th year left because of injury and stuff of that nature, I don't mind that. Olivia Miles is doing that. She got hurt in the Sweet 16. She missed out a whole year, torn her ACL, and she entered the transfer portal because she did her years at Notre Dame and she couldn't win anything. So she wanted to go somewhere else to finish out her college career before she goes into the draft and be 100% healthy going into the draft next year. So I'm not mad at that. But what I am mad about is you're going in the transfer portal so you can see what other colleges are offering you when it comes to money. That's what I feel like is being killed at in that area itself.
Mm-hmm.
Because now they start to play hand in hand. Okay, whoever college gives me the most money, that's where I'm going. I think they need to separate the two. I think the NCAA needs to fix that. Because at some points, yeah, you're going to get college, you're going to get money from the colleges. You are. But I don't feel like it should be a requirement on why you're going in the transfer portal.
Here's the problem with that, though. Here's the problem with that. The NCAA has nothing to do with NIL.
No. I'm saying like as far as like in control of the transfer portal.
Oh, okay. I got you.
In control of the transfer portal, like if a college going to, if like it should be some type of requirement, some type of standard on why you're going into the transfer portal. Yes, you can ask for it, like you can transfer anywhere you want to transfer to, but if you're just transferring just for the money, that's an issue for me.
Yeah,
that's the issue. There's no like it's like me leaving Temple to go to LaSalle because it's more money, but both teams are trash. So what am I transferring for?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. Like it's players going to schools just for the money and not for the program. So
right.
we have to figure out a way for the transfer portal to be about, okay, I want to go somewhere where I can be better and go to a school that I know I can succeed at academically and as an athlete, not just because the money.
Right. That makes sense when you put it that way. And the NCAA is the root cause for all of this because of their ineptitude, because of their inability to govern correctly, and all of those stupid restrictions that they put on these student athletes back in the day when you couldn't even get if you got a bagel with cream cheese on it, you better make sure that the cream cheese was plain, because if you got cream cheese with a strawberry flavor, you were in violation. I mean, that and that's what they get. Yeah. I hope the NCAA, I hope they get everything that's coming to them because they have been so corrupt for so long, and they have exploited these kids from football all the way to any other sport for what they've done on the field. And then when a student athlete wants to get money just to buy a pizza or for gas money or for their parents may need something, then they want to take away Heisman trophies. It's just it's wrong.
Reggie Bush type stuff.
Yeah, it's wrong. It's wrong.
And you take away national championships in basketball. You take away accolades because of this stuff. And that was the 90s, early 2000s era where we seen that.
Mm-hmm.
We seen that. And on top of that, you seen they had to bring college football back when it comes to the video game, because back then the game was just being played and using their attributes and everything, and the players was not getting paid at all.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
now you see that it was what, since 2012 since they had a game out, and they finally brought the game back this year because now the players are able to get revenue off the video games.
So here I got a question. Because back then it was called NCAA, whatever it was, whatever the year was. Do they still have NCAA on there, or are they just saying college football and whatever the year is?
I think it's in college football 2025, if I'm not mistaken.
I
Let
want
me
to look
just
it up.
let me just double check that.
I got it. I got it. You go ahead, and I'm just like, and that whole thing was spawned by um the O'Bannon boys from UCLA,
Right.
you know, and they were the O'Bannon boys, Charles and Ed. They were great college players. They didn't do nothing in the NBA, and maybe even they knew at that time that they weren't going to be making tons of money in the NBA for them to go back and really fight for that the way that they did. So I don't have any problem with any college athlete or student athlete getting all that they can simply because they deserve it. Now, here's another question for you. Do you think it'll ever get to a point to where the colleges are actually playing these players?
They are actually paying these players now because
NIL, NIL is
yeah,
different.
because of the NIL. But there is some major colleges are paying these players because how the coaches are being paid. Now let's talk about that in that situation, because now we see these coaches get paid like college football coaches, they get paid like the NFL. Why do you think you have not seen a lot of college coaches jump to the NFL anymore? Because they colleges are paying out their pocket to make sure that they get the bag in college football than they'll do in the NFL. So if you look at this, it's called EA Sports College Football 2025.
There it is, right there.
They took NCAA completely out of it.
Right, as
So
they should have.
as they should have. Because like even with the NIL deals, like you have some schools that were like, oh, I will pay you this amount of money to come to my school. And it will be completely legal now because of the NIL and how the NIL rules are set.
Mm-hmm.
You have certain colleges that can afford that, like a lot of Power 5 D1 colleges can afford that. And you have some colleges that gives a lower standard. Because they make their money in college. They do. But the NIL deals, if you have a big brand that's going to pay you $20,000, $25,000 on top of what the college is paying you, you're good.
Right. I feel that. I feel that.
So, like how NIL set it up, yeah, NIL is a part of it, but it is some colleges out there that's coming up right out their pocket to pay for players,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not illegal anymore.
Yeah.